Hello, True Blood fans, and welcome to the second installment of Witch and Famous True Blood Recap Season of the Witch. I am so excited I don't even know where to begin. This episode was so amazing, and it's only the second episode. I can't even begin to think of where this is going to go from here. Thank you for those of you that watched last week, and I've heard your suggestions, and yes, I will concise it. Thank you for suffering through 8 minutes. Hopefully this week will be a little bit better. So, I'm going to talk about what I know. Y'all watched the episode, but I'm going to get right to the witches. This week was amazing. In the most important part of the show, which was the ritual at the end, we're gathered together again, and they are still reeling from the night before. Oh my god, last night was amazing, you know, they're still thinking about it, and they're already like, what are we going to do tonight? What are we going to do tonight? And Marnie, without even flinching, goes, we're going to animate a human being. And everyone's like, what? No, really, what are we? She's like, we're going to get a human being. And I love one of the little Wiccan girls in the background goes, what? Well, why can't we just use a pigeon? That's my favorite. And she goes, no, we're going to get... And before he misses a beat, Lafayette goes, and where are you going to get a dead body? And all of a sudden, of course, in walks Eric Northman. Now, I was wondering how the witches and the vampires are going to sort of play together in this season and how he was going to do this. And a very interesting meeting in the earlier part of the show between Bill and Eric kind of reveals this. Necromancy is basically the subject that we're dealing with here. Basically, necromancy is dealing with the spirits of the dead. Now, traditionally, necromancy is when you speak with the departed. And the actual act of reanimating a dead body is very Hollywood. I'm not going to say people haven't attempted it. Anything's possible. But traditionally, when we do it, we basically call to the spirits and ask them to join us by inhabiting some sort of spirit house. In a witch's circle, the way that we do it is we use a skull. A skull, because the bone represents the ancestors, and the actual head represents the wisdom of those ancestors. We light a candle on top of the skull when we call them in, and when the candle is there, it's like the front porch light is on and the spirits are home and with us. So this is the way that traditional witches will actually communicate with the dead. I know it looks a little creepy, but when you break down the parts, it's really not. So, of course, being True Blood, hang out there for a little bit. Being True Blood, we're going to go the full 9 yards, and we're waiting for that actual dead body, and Eric arrives. Well, in the earlier meeting, when Bill sends Eric to talk to the witches and basically tell them, you're not going to be working here anymore, we get some tidbits. Why is it that the necromancers are so much of a threat to the vampires? Well, if necromancers can commune with and control the dead, they can control the vampires. Aha! This is fascinating, because up until this point, there have been no more powerful beings than the vampires. But now enter the witches. Huzzah! So, Eric arrives, and in his typical cocky ballsy way, asks for Marnie and basically tells her, you won't be meeting here, don't try to meet here, I know everything, I am everywhere. Because up until this point he was. However, after a typical vampire scuffle, couple of neck bites, you name it, Marnie is suddenly taken over by another spirit being. This is the best part. And of course, in a very, typical way, the atmosphere changes, the lights go dim, everybody starts to look around and see what goes on, but Marnie starts to flash, and you see the other spirit come forth. She invokes this incredible Latin chant, and at first, I'm not sure what it is, and I can't really make it out, but yes, I watched it several times until I could make it out, and then I translated it online. And the invocation was incredible, because standing before her is this vampire, which to her as a witch is an evil spirit. So she begins, I am tibi impero e principio maligne spiritus. And I translated this to basically be, evil spirit, I command you to depart the circle immediately, without sound or fear or foulness, because nobody likes foulness, and without damage to either my soul or my body. Well, that's just fabulous. The hell with the lesser vanishing ritual of the pentagram. I'm using this. Anyway, we watch Eric's spirit drain from his being, the light goes out in his eyes, and it's amazing. And Eric Northman, one of the most powerful vampires in the land, runs with his tail between his legs and is gone. Marnie falls to the floor. What happened? Did he leave? Amazing. This was incredible. And the witches, of course, didn't know what to do. Oh, and I love that Lafayette, who's been so hesitant up until this point, as soon as his own flesh and blood was threatened, when Tara was taken over by Eric, bam, he joined hands. And again, that extra added energy brings the circle to life. Marnie is amazing. And we start to see flashes of who's really coming out in this season. And the character, I think, is going to be known as Hollow Stonebrook. Hollow Stonebrook is the witch that takes over Marnie and really starts to run the coven. Hollow herself is a character, I believe in the books, who is from the Inquisition, and this is why Eric probably recognizes her a little bit when she starts to speak the Latin and is so threatened and is gone. Now, as far as the way that witches truly work, I find it fascinating that Jesus and Lafayette are toting themselves to be Wiccans, because I've practiced Wicca for many years, and I have moved on to more traditional forms of the craft. This is far more than a Wiccan circle, man, but they are definitely out there and doing some real deal stuff. And I wonder what the Wiccans actually think of this, because they're being represented as Wiccans, but Wiccans don't really do this type of work. They're a lot more peaceful, let's just say. So, there's lots of good stuff here to analyze and take apart. I do love that the witch from last season, the blonde, she basically steps in and she's kind of the ringleader of the rest of the coven. She's almost the handmaiden to Marnie, and she does an amazing job at wrangling everybody up, especially when Marnie's famous command of "join hands" starts to be. And they call upon the elements of the dark and the elements of the dead to come and join them. There's nothing more powerful than that. So, we are off and running. It is only episode 2, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. I hope you enjoy my recap, and if you have any questions, please email me. I love the emails that I've been getting so far. It's really, really fun. And let's keep practicing our witchcraft together, guys. Check out my website, witchandfamous.com. We're still getting it together, but it's coming really well. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.